All right, Coach. First question is coming from Dwight James with NBC Sports Northwest.
Terry, will Melo play tomorrow night?
Most likely, yeah.
How do you decide, is it a meritocracy on how people play? Do you go by how they're playing? Or does a guy like him go back to the role he was in before? Gary obviously coming off the big game. How do you make all those decisions with all the players that you have who could help you?
Well, Mel's not going to lose his spot in rotation, for one. I think there is a meritocracy as far as, earning your minutes on the court. And, we've talked about it. We've got a really good bench. And Gary had a good game last night. Enes Kanter, no one really talked about the game that he had off the bench. Melo certainly can have a game off the bench. So Rodney Hood can have a game off the bench. It's as people like to say, it's a good problem to have. But that's some of the things that we'll see during the season.
So does a veteran player get a little more slack in that regard, Terry? Somebody like Melo, who has done a lot of things.
Yeah, certainly.
Stick with him longer? Is that fair to say?
I mean, he certainly earned that. I think not only throughout his career, but with us last year. So yeah, he's earned that right.
So how do you make time for Gary?
We'll see.
Next question is coming from Brooke Olzendam with Trailblazers TV.
Sorry, just Googling meritocracy real fast. And now I know.
That's why you are where you are.
Coach, yesterday or last night, I should say, after the Lakers went on that 15-0 run, it was nice to see, like, they didn't get down on themselves. They continued to battle. What is it about this team that kind of like makes you feel like even if they get down, that they can come back and that they're never out of it? Because a 15-0 run against the reigning champs is no joke.
No, I think a lot of it is starts with Dame. I think his mentality, as far as the competitor that he is and the leader that he is, and the competitive nature that he has rubs off on everybody. I think we have an experienced team that knows that the NBA games are a game of runs and a lot can happen in a short amount of time. I think a lot of it depends on how the run is developed. We had 3 turnovers during that stretch. We had a missed kick ball that led to 4 points. So it was kind of a slow developing run, but I don't think it was one of those runs that we ever felt like that we were being overwhelmed.
And real quick, if you could, just the solid play of Enes Kanter, you mentioned it before that maybe it's not talked about enough. Just how huge has he been in that second unit?
Well, I forget which game I guess it might have been Utah. He goes 7 for 7. I think he's leading the league in field goal percentage. He's, he had 14 points and 14 rebounds last night, and he was in during, obviously his plus minus was really good, and he knows his game. He has a great knack around the basket. He's a great teammate and plays the right way. So it's, obviously rebounding has been a concern for us, and that's one of his strengths.
Next question is coming from Jason Quick with The Athletic.
Coach, what stands out to you about Rodney's progress?
I think he's just taking it as he feels comfortable with it. Like he had some emotion last night. He was getting fired up. I think he's gaining confidence in his body. And, the other game, I think it was Houston, he came in right away and hit a corner 3 the first time he touched it. That was encouraging to see. So, understanding what he's been through and to get to this point, I think he's got a good demeanor about how he's going about it.
Next question is coming from Aaron Fentress with the Oregonian.
Coach, a lot was made about the additions of Jones and Covington as defenders and then the defense progressing, et cetera. They've been struggling offensively. Are they also adjusting to you guys offensively as well, and maybe aren't as comfortable as maybe they'll be down the line?
I think they'll get more comfortable. Taking them separately. I thought Robert had some great looks. He's a very good 3-point shooter, and the looks he had were some were wide open. So so I think that's one thing. And I'm confident that that's going to come around. I think Derek is kind of finding his way. I don't want to discourage his 3-point shooting, but he's really good working the baseline. I think you saw him I think more and more you'll see him getting some passes along the baseline when they jump Dame and CJ. We'll be able to find him on the baseline. So I think they're both finding their way. I'm more concerned about the quality of shots that they're getting, and I think they're both getting the looks that we like.
Thanks.
Next question is coming from Casey Holdall with Trailblazers.com.
What are some of the issues that the Clippers pose now? And I'm curious too, is it hard to scout, or have you found it interesting the way that there seems like there's a lot of losses, and then teams that, it's early in the season, but it seems like there's a lot of unexpected things that happen just in the first week, and I'm wondering if you felt that.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that last night after the game. You look at some of the scores around the league. There have been blowouts. All 5 games on Christmas were blowouts. I don't know what to make of it. I think everybody's just trying to find their way. Obviously, the Clipper Dallas game was very unusual. So I don't know if I can compare it to the bubble where scoring was really up because I think that was a little different since there are a lot of teams that in the regular last games of the regular season, some teams weren't playing them as importantly. But I don't know what to make of it other than the fact that there's teams are going to continue to get better, and we are where we are right now.
We got time for one more question coming from Jamie Hudson with NBC Sports Northwest.
Coach, sticking with that idea of comparing to the bubble, there was so much talk of no travel, obviously, in the bubble. So with this staying in LA, what's the value there, and then staying in San Francisco? What do you see with that?
Well, I think travel is probably the most difficult part of an NBA schedule, and you saw that in the bubble, or at least you felt that in the bubble, where you took travel and flights and getting in late. You took that out of the equation. I thought players were a lot fresher, and so being in one city for 3 or 4 days is a different for NBA players or coaches, because we're not in that situation very much. I think it's a little early to say. The fact that we're here playing 2 different teams versus in Golden State, we're playing the same team twice. I think those are 2 different dynamics, because there have been times, obviously in the past, when you'd come into LA and play the Clippers and the Lakers on the same road trip. But I think going to Golden State will be a little different just because it's the same team back to back.